Hey, this is Dave Pryor. Welcome to Agile 2019. We're going to be doing interviews here in the Leading Agile booth all week long with speakers and thought leaders and other folks who are here at the conference. Erika Massie's here. Eric, thanks for coming by.
No problem. Nice to see you, Dave.
So Erika is the Director of Global Learning and Assessment. I had to write it down because it's really long.
It's very fancy.
What is that job?
So at Scrum Alliance, I work with all of the curriculum design and instructional design for our certifications.
Okay.
So I primarily work with trainers and coaches to help them be the best facilitators and teachers that they can be for their students.
Okay. And there's been a lot of changes in the certification over the last year and a half.
There has. We've added a couple of new paths for our certification processes, as well as we've been trying to really focus on building our practitioner community, our CSP community. So we changed our approach about 2 years ago, where we're really starting to look at building those practitioner skills, people who are on the ground doing those transformations in their enterprises, right there among, all of the where all the action is happening, really.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to focus on not only growing that community, but trying to support them as much as possible.
Okay. So I taught classes last week.
Mm-hmm.
I had CSM and CSPO. How do you explain to somebody why you would want to go further down that path towards the CSP? What kind of transformation are they going to go through, and what's the kind of return for them?
Right. So, a lot of folks want to be trainers or coaches, and so that's a stepping stone to that path. But really being a practitioner, being recognized as a certified Scrum professional, certified Scrum practitioner in our community is really showing to employers and to executives that you are there leading the change, leading the charge. And the certifications that we've built leading up to CSP will allow people to really take a deep dive into those roles within Scrum, either the Scrum Master or the Product Owner role. We're still working on what the developer role will look like in the future, but where folks can really do a deep dive into that Product Owner or Scrum Master knowledge so that when they come out as a CSP, they're ready to hit the ground running and really take charge in their organization.
And it's from CSM, it's one more year to advanced CSM or CSPO.
It's 1 year of role-based experience, but it's not necessarily a waiting period.
Okay.
So if you have a CSM and you've been working as a active Scrum Master for the last few years or even for the last year, if you can document that role-based experience, you're ready to move to the advanced level.
Okay.
And then 1 more year of experience, which isn't necessarily waiting period.
Right. So if you had 3 years, you're good to go all the way.
Then you can go to the CSP SM or CSP PO.
Okay. What's involved in getting to that state, to get to the CSP state? And they have to take additional training, right?
Yeah, so it's a CSM course, and then
which is in person. Has to be
in person for CSM or CSPO. Yeah, it's a minimum 2-day course in person. And then once you get to the advanced level, we have educators, trainers or coaches who are delivering it in a variety of different ways. We have coaches doing one-on-one coaching. We have coaches doing small group on-one coaching. We have traditional in-person classes if that's what works best for how you learn. We also have folks doing virtual opportunities and blended opportunities. So live virtual trainings so that you're able to create cohorts with people who are on the same path and journey as you all over the world. So it's not as linked to geography as it is to building that skill set.
So that would be with the stuff Jason Tanner's doing, it's like online training, and then there's a small group that meets periodically to talk through different issues.
Exactly, and every trainer or coach deliverer does it differently. It may be a 9-month journey, it may be a year journey, depending on what your customized learning plan is. The thing that I find the most inspiring about the path to CSP is that educator is able to tailor their education toward what the student needs the most. So if you're really strong in coaching and facilitation skills, but need to dive into, for example, listening skills, or you really need to dive into some of the more agile basics, then they can customize a plan for you.
So what would they, when they get to the CSP level, let's say it's a Scrum Master, CSP SM.
Sure.
How are their skills going to be deepened? What do you expect them to have that somebody coming out of the CSM wouldn't have, other than the experience?
Well, it's that 2 years of role-based experience plus the advanced education come together to really to create this mixture of the things that are the most necessary to be successful in that role tomorrow.
Okay.
We want to make sure that CSPs and advanced CSMs, or advanced CSPOs for that matter, come out of those courses with tips, tools, tricks, techniques, things to actionably put into practice when they go back to work on that next Monday. So we want those folks, not only do they have that customized learning journey, but then they're also given things that they can actually employ and do right then and there. And then we hope, of course, CSPs, they're going to be actively sought for new positions, hopefully be able to be promoted. We're doing a lot of marketing right now to let leaders and executives know that CSPs is who you want to hire.
Okay. And so I've described that in the past as like, if comparing it to the PMP, that test is super hard.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you're a good project manager.
Right.
And I've been describing CSP as, if that test required you to also be a good project manager, that's kind of the equivalent. Does that seem reasonable?
You know, we got ourselves into a little bit of a pickle many years ago because we named ourselves a master of Scrum.
Right.
Even though we all know that mastery is something we're all working on a daily basis, even when you have reached the highest level of certification. So in certification speak, you know, the rigor of the exam can often let people believe that that's a deeper understanding.
Yeah.
But what we've really tried to focus on with the Path to CSP specifically is that depth of understanding.
Okay.
Rather than just a check for knowledge, which an exam does help educators be able to assess their knowledge, it's really about building that depth.
Okay. And so there's not a test for the advanced levels, right?
Nope, there's no test. And every educator is just validating your competency in each of those learning objectives.
So whoever's leading the class, like Jason Tanner, would be confirming that the people in this cohort have developed that level of mastery or skill that they can be a CSP.
And your journey may be very different from mine.
Okay.
So your assessment of your competencies may require some different in-depth explanation of how you understand the topics.
Okay.
Whereas mine might be different. So we're all going to be focusing on different things. It just depends on how the educator wants to approach it.
Okay. Can I ask you about tests?
Sure, of course.
So we have the CSM exam.
Yes.
And we don't have one for PO.
We do not.
But?
Well, there's been talks that we will have a product owner exam someday in the future. Right now, those are on hold.
Okay.
We did release a new CSM exam last year, and it needed to be updated. It had been out in the world for many years, and we realized that it was available online. So the test security
I didn't even know that.
was an issue.
Okay.
And it needed to be made current with our current version of learning objectives, as well as the most current version of the Scrum Guide.
Okay.
So a handful of volunteers from all over the world spent over a year rewriting those test questions and then testing them. And we have released that. It's now available in 11 languages.
Okay.
But we haven't quite gone down the road with CSPO.
So you should all take CSPO certification really soon.
I would say it's still quite a ways off. There's a lot of talk in the education world. Are tests the best way to measure someone's understanding and knowledge?
Okay.
And different people around the world teach and learn in different ways. And Scrum Alliance has members in 80 different countries. And an exam is a great way for us to do that, like that checkbox that those folks around the world have taken that course and gotten that really basic fundamental information. But it, like I said before, it doesn't show the depth of understanding that's really built into those advanced levels. So, and we have so many folks going through CSM. It's just a way for us to sort of manage the pipeline. But as you go deeper in your journey, you have a deeper relationship with your trainer or coach. It's really almost a mentoring path.
Okay. Have you seen, is it still the majority of the certifications are CSM as opposed to CSPO?
The lion's share of who we certify around the world is in CSM. We certify between 6,000 and 8,000 people a month around the world. And CSPO is close second. Okay. But when Path to CSP was launched, the approach to CSM, I think, has changed. Okay. Especially with trainers like yourself. Because no longer is it an introduction to Scrum. It really is a deep dive into the Scrum Master role. Yeah. Just as much CSPO is a deep dive into the product owner role. And we hope someday to build out the team member or developer role.
Okay.
And or we're not sure quite yet where that's going to land. So that intro to Scrum idea has sort of shifted into what we call Scrum Foundations now,
Okay.
which is the basic parts of Scrum values, the Agile Manifesto, and just some of that real fundamental knowledge that we expect even an incoming CSM student to already be aware of.
Yeah, so if you're going to take a class, you should learn that stuff before you get there, because it enables everything to go faster and you can go a lot deeper.
Yes, and you read the Scrum Guide, and then we have a set of free videos on the Scrum Alliance website that will take you through the Scrum Foundations learning objectives.
Okay. Cool.
It's about an hour. It's worth one SEU, and you can do it in small spurts. It doesn't have to be done all at once.
Okay.
So it's a good way of checking your own understanding.
And making sure that you come in not lost, which some folks do, and that holds everybody back.
Exactly.
Okay. So one more question.
Sure, of course.
There's been a big focus in the Agile community over the last year and a half to shifting towards a more product-centric approach. How is that, or how are you seeing that impact the entire training process and everything like that?
That's a great question. The biggest ask we have right now from members is about the product owner role.
Okay.
We don't have global coverage of even CSPPO courses yet.
Okay.
We're working on it. We're adding new ones every day. But that's really the biggest ask we have of the community at large, is they say, I really want to learn more about the product owner role, because I think CSM, the Scrum Master role, for so long was thought as almost a prerequisite to being, product owner. And so I think there's such an area of opportunity there, and it's really advancing the conversation. By the time you get a CSP PO, you are so deep into the understanding about maximizing value, stakeholder engagement, working with your team as a product owner. There's so many techniques that you can employ that very next day. And there's been a big shift. We're seeing more of a, I would say, I don't know if it's a harmonious marriage necessarily, but it's definitely a union between the project manager community and the product owner community, and finding where we differ and finding where we're similar and really building those bridges.
Cool.
So I'm seeing more folks come from the PMP world
into the product
owner world, or vice versa. Just depends.
And that's a big deal, because for a long time it was the PMPs become Scrum Masters, which isn't right for everybody.
No, it's not. And just as not every Scrum role is right for everybody. So it's been really interesting to see. I've been with Scrum Alliance 4 years, to really see the shift of, it's project managers versus project owners, the product owners, and now seeing them come together.
Cool. So if people want to learn more about this stuff, what's the best way to do that?
Well, the best place is all on our website, scrumalliance.org. And we have about 53 folks around the world who are answering questions, building new products, and really there to help support people in their educational journey.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming by. It was great seeing you again. And keep checking back, because we're going to be doing these all week long. Live interviews here from Agile 2019. Thanks.